Hello everyone, my name is Denis Lepage. I'm with Bird Studies Canada, and I will demonstrate to you the Canadian data import tool for eBird data. So this tool is something that you can use to transfer with just a few easy steps your Canadian bird monitoring data for programs such as the Canadian Breeding Bird Atlases into your eBird account. And this is just, it can be done in just a few minutes quite simply. So when you get to the eBird Canada portal, you should see on the right hand side a link, an icon that says Canadian Data Import Tool. So you just click on that, and this is the page that you reach when you get to this tool. And you just have to enter your eBird login, so your eBird username and your password to sign into this tool. So you will see here, I'm just using the test mode for this video, but the version that you will see will have maybe a dozen or more different data sets for which you can transfer data, so you should recognize some of those names, hopefully, if you have any data into these data sets. And the first thing you'll have to do the first time you come in is to create or set up your account so that it can actually be linked, so we can make the link between your data sets to these Canadian programs and your eBird account. So you just click here on Manage Logins. So you'll see again the same list of projects for which you can transfer data. For each of those, what you have to enter here is the login name that is normally the login that you would have used to, let's say, enter data into these projects, and the password that was also linked to that login name. So a login name could be a number, it could be a login that you created yourself, or even an email address. So it will really depend on which project you're trying to push data for. If you don't remember what the login information is for some of the projects or all of the projects, you can just go into the reminder tool here. So you would just enter the email address that is normally the one that we would have used at the time for that specific project. So if that was, for example, the Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas that was run between 2001 and 2005, most people had an email address attached to their account at the time, and then it should still be on file. So if you still have access to that email address, you should be able to send yourself a reminder at that email. If you have different projects that were using different email address, so you can just use that tool, reminder tool, any number of times, and it'll let you know as it goes whether it is actually finding any valid login information and trying to send them. If all that fails, and if you have if you don't remember what your login is and you don't have access to the email address that was used for that project, then your only other option is to contact the project staff at Bird Studies Canada. Should be able to help you retrieve that information. So for all the projects, there's an auto checkbox option here. What it does is something that actually hasn't been quite implemented yet, but it will be in the future. And it allows the system to essentially push any new data as it comes in. So if this was an ongoing Atlas project, if you check that box, as you submit new data, maybe once a day, the data will be transferred automatically with your within your eBird account without having you coming here and doing this manually. So this will be quite handy, but at this point it hasn't been yet implemented. But if this is something you would want to do, I would encourage you to check it, and then once it gets implemented, it will start rolling automatically. And if you wanted also to get a notification by email about your data transfer, you simply can enter your email address in this box here, and then as the automatic transfers proceed, then you'll get a notification when it's completed, telling you how many checklists have been transferred and all of that. The last little thing to mention here is this little checkbox or little icon, that little question mark, and it allows you to validate that the login information and password actually is valid for that project. So if I click here, it just tells me here that it's okay. And and then I can proceed with the transfer. It's worth noting that if the login information is valid, but there isn't data into the data set for that project, it'll say no here, so it won't make the difference between a really invalid login information and the fact that there was no data, so that would be normal. Okay, so once you're done, you just click Save, so you would just see the list here of all of the different projects. You would just hit Save. That saves your profile. And then normally, unless you change the login information or you add new projects, you don't have to go back to this setup again. So once this has been created, the first time or any time you come in later, this is the page that you would see, and then for any of the projects, there will be an import button available for all the projects for which you've entered a login. So you have to do it one project at a time for the transfer, so you would just click Import,